Well, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you may happen to be around the world. I am here in the salubrious surroundings of Newport World Resorts in Manila, here for the IAG Live Streaming Show. Of course, it's that usual time, Friday, 10 a.m., and I'm sitting in the lobby of the Hilton right now. It's quite pleasant here. And to help us with the show today, as always, we have our intrepid studio producer, Mr. Oscar Guerrero. Come in, Oscar. Hey, there you are. No more Spain. Now you're in the office.
I miss it.
You miss Spain? Maybe we should move. Maybe.
I miss the office. I think.
Wow, that's impressive. You miss
the people, of course.
Yes, of course. Well, of course, we'll all be together very soon. Not next week, but the week after. From Monday, the week after, for the IAG EXPO. So when are you flying over, Oscar?
I fly on Thursday.
On Thursday. Yeah, big team of 17 people from IAG going to be there. So it's a big event. And then, of course, we'll have a bunch of other staff as well that we've hired for the event. So it's going to be exciting. We'll see you in just a little under a week.
Okay. See you.
Thanks, Oscar.
Thanks.
And it's been a kind of somewhat busy week of news in the Asia Pacific gaming industry this week. And to help me go through the news, I won't say as always, but I'll say as usual or as often, it is IAG's managing editor, Ben Blaschke from Sydney. Come on in, Ben.
Hey, Andrew. How you going?
Very nice, very nice. Nice picture you've got going there on the right-hand side.
Yes, my little fish. Yeah.
Your little fish. Yes, how's the dog? How's Willow?
She's good. She's on the other side. You can't see her now, but she follows me everywhere, so she's sleeping next to me.
Oh, very good. Nice. We might have an interruption at some stage. Hopefully not. Anyway, let's see. And how's the week been for you? Getting breakfast briefing out every week. We've got 10 stories for everyone this week. What sort of a week do you think it's been?
Yeah, well, I heard you say before, Andrew, that it's been a busy week, and it has been. It's sort of this week's really built up with stories and quite significant stories. Some results releases with SJM and Genting Malaysia. We've had a bit happening with Star in Australia. We've had a bit happening around the region. So yeah, it's built up, and then with obviously everything we're doing with IAG Expo, it's been a very busy week.
We've all been very busy, and when you get busy, you get stressed, and things happen, and it gets. And we got a great event, something new for IAG to do an exhibition. Of course, we've done the awards nights many times. We've done the summits and conferences many times. We've done MAD many times. Well, 30, isn't it? I think it's MAD 30. Is it 31? The one that we're going to have on Monday week?
Yeah, that's right. We've already got 32 and 33 planned out. So
we do. We'll talk about that at the end of the show. We'll run through the events through to the end of the year. I can't believe already I'm starting to say the run to the end of the year, but we are. And big week. So let's get into it. Let's get into the news of the week. We've got something for everyone this week. I think we've got just about every jurisdiction out there covered. So we'll start with Macau. This is in no particular. Well, it's actually in chronological order of the week. So this is a story Pierce did on Sunday. Good on Pierce, working on a Sunday. Macau visitor arrivals continuing to grow. So this is a pattern we've been seeing, isn't it, Ben? We've been seeing in Macau with the sort of, the junket industry and the VIP industry going down, or perhaps more accurately being, let's say, half assimilated into premium direct or direct activity of the integrated resorts of the 6 gaming operators in Macau, and the other half probably going. We've seen a concomitant rise in mass, a lot of mass. So there's a huge number of people actually coming to Macau every day, isn't there?
Yeah, I mean, we've been talking about the fact that Macau's gaming revenues have sort of surged over the past 3 or 4 months. Actually, pure visitor arrivals have been pretty strong for well over a year now, but I guess the question has been the quality of that visitor. But now we're starting to see a little bit more of both. We're seeing still, as you can see in this story, very good visitation overall. But it looks like we're also starting to get a bit of a slightly better quality visitor too, and that spend's starting to come through in gaming revenues.
What's interesting, 3.5 million visitors there, or just shy of 3.5 million for July. July is nothing special month. In fact, if anything, you'd probably put July down as one of the quieter, not the quietest, but one of the quieter months in Macau. So if you would multiply July by 12, well, my maths tells me, what's that, 42 million? Cracking 40 million, that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, you've got some summer holidays going on around this time, but probably it was surprising when July's GGR figures came through that it was the best month since COVID at that time. And obviously we've got the August figures coming out in a couple of days' time as well. It'll be very interesting to see.
Right, and it is interesting also to delve a little bit into those stats. Average trip to Macau down to 1.1 days.
Yep. A lot of day trippers, Andrew.
A lot of day trippers. So it's interesting, isn't it? I mean, is that a function of people doing the triangle, doing the Hong Kong, Macau, Guangzhou thing, perhaps? So a lot of day trippers. I think traditionally it's always been about 50-50, but if I remember correctly, I think it was more like 58-42. Oscar, maybe if you scroll down, I think we might have had it in the story. If you scroll down, we might have had the number there in the story. I think Piers put it in there. There you go, 40 overnight visitors, 42.7, call that 43. So 57-43 between day trippers and overnight, starting to get in favour of the day trippers. Anyway, let's move on from that story. But the short story there is Macau, big numbers, a lot of people. I remember Galaxy saying that they had their biggest footfall day ever in their history, the day of G-Dragon, which I think was a couple of months ago, maybe now. 123,000 people went into Galaxy Macau in a single day, which is an incredible number of people. All right, let's move on to the next one, Oscar. Okay, can Oscar hear me? Oh, there we go, good. Yeah, Hann postpones. I think Ben's starting to freeze up there a little bit. We might be having some connectivity issues with you, Ben. Let's see how we go.
I'm here. Back. Yep, I'm here.
Right, Hann postpones its IPO. It only seems like 5 minutes ago we were announcing this IPO, and now it seems that Hann's decided just to put it off for a little while. What's this one all about?
Yeah, Mr. Hann, of course, has been very bullish on this IPO, but he's decided just to take a bit of a back seat for a while, citing probably slow market conditions. I believe this was going to be only the second IPO on the Philippine Stock Exchange this year. So the Philippine Stock Exchange obviously not performing that well at the moment. I guess Mr. Hann sees this as not the ideal time to launch his IPO. He says he will do it. It's still on the agenda, just a matter of finding the perfect time.
Well, it was interesting to watch that interview that he did with, was it One News? One News? Yeah, One News that we covered. We then picked it up and covered, and him talking about the reasons that he's doing it and his need for capital for the expansion. I've been up there very recently. Jason's actually there right now as we speak. He's leaving tomorrow, I think. And we've, you've been there many times, Ben. We've all been there many times, and great little property and pumping along. And approximately 50%, I think just under 50% of all the Clark revenue for the whole town of Clark. So, we wish Mr. Hann well. I think he's got a great little property there. Given it's a regional property, he does very well. All right, let's move on. Oscar, what's next? We're still on Macau. Previous story was about numbers of heads coming in. Now we're talking about numbers of dollars. JP Morgan very bullish on Macau GGR. Maybe scroll down a little bit, Oscar, and Ben, you can talk us through the numbers on this.
Yeah, I mean, Andrew, this sort of, as you say, it sort of follows on from when we're talking about the visitation. But, since May, we've seen gaming revenues really start to pick up in Macau. This momentum has continued through since then. And as JP Morgan, DS Kim and co have been saying, they see this momentum as continuing through August. And they cited, I believe last week, I think it was, as the strongest non-Golden Week of GGR since COVID. So, putting aside the Golden Week holidays, which are traditionally much stronger than a normal week, the past week was the strongest, not including those. That's quite if that turns out to be true, and again, we'll find out about GGR for the month of August in a couple of days' time. But again, it's just this momentum. All of a sudden, we've just seen Macau pick right up again, and it's just surging.
Be interesting to see how the China government reacts to that, if they're okay with it or not. I mean, they're obviously much happier with Macau than they used to be. They're happy that there's, the whole issue of capital flight's been largely resolved. Junkets has been largely resolved. The new issuing of the licenses, or concessions, I should say, has been well handled by the government in Macau, and everything is nice and smooth. So will they take the attitude of, this is okay, we don't mind this, and it's Chinese territory after all, or will they say, these numbers getting a little bit big for our liking? We're still a long way off the high watermark of 2013 at 43 billion. So admittedly, that was with junkets with a lot of low margin business, but still, it's well and truly starting with a 3 now, not with a 2. So as in terms of tens of billions of US dollars per year run rate. Anyway, let's move on. Oscar, what do we got next? Yeah, Cambodia. Thought we'd talk about this one today because we haven't talked about Cambodia for a long time. So NagaCorp, of course, the only property in Cambodia that could lay claim to being an integrated, couldn't lay claim to being an integrated resort. It is an integrated resort. And they're, of course, listed on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange. We haven't talked about them for so long that some of our newer viewers may not know too much about them. Take us through this one.
Yeah, I mean, NagaCorp has been a bit of a slow burn since COVID. There was a lot of talk last year, the year before, about some debt they had coming up that they had to find a solution to. GGR wasn't recovering as fast as in some other markets. That appears to be behind them. There's pretty strong results reported by NagaCorp this week, and I guess like many across the region, they really credited the mass market as really driving that. They had some very, very strong results across both mass and premium mass, and also some decent results along their direct VIP. So I guess that also reflects the changing nature of the market across the region, Andrew, as we're seeing this mass growth, mass and premium mass are really leading the way. So yeah, Cambodia a bit slow to get back on board with the rest of the region, but it seems to be following the same trend.
Try saying Matt does math on mass quickly exactly 10 times. Right. Look, bit of an instruction without notice here, Oscar. Sorry about this, but just for people who are not so familiar with Naga, Oscar, why don't you click on the magazines link at the top there, and bring up all of our magazines. We noticed there that September issue is already up, and we'll be doing the digital edition on that today. But if you scroll right down, the Naga 3 story we did, obviously that was long delayed. Ben, where would that be? That's a few years back, maybe 2023, Oscar?
Rolling a little. I've done so many covers in these days. Yeah, keep going back. It could have been 22.
Yeah.
Just looking
Might
to
have been
see.
22.
I still can't see it, actually.
Well, I'm not getting any scrolling going on at all now, so
I can still hear you, but I can see that. There we go. There's a Naga 2 way back in 2020. So that was obviously Naga 3, I should
Naga
say.
3,
of course,
right?
2020 was, of course, when this, the next bit of expansion, Naga 3, was sort of first being talked about, and that cover obviously had the early designs. Well, that's been put on hold now, of course, Naga 3 until 2029, I believe. But yeah, quite interesting, isn't it? I mean, that's how long, it doesn't seem that long ago to me, but 5 years ago we wrote about Naga 3.
Right, and I realise it's actually my connection that is lost, I think.
Well, we can still hear you, Andrew. So if you can hear us.
All right, well, I vaguely can hear you. It's sort of coming in and out, so you may have to take over, Ben. Anyway, back to the next story, Oscar. Let's get back on the program.
Not sure if you can see that, Andrew, but we've got up the IAG announces the summit program for the IAG Academy Summit on 9th and 10th of September. So I encourage everybody to jump on and take a look at our program. We've got some great speakers lined up for the 2 days. As you can see there, Mr. Alejandro Tenco, Chairman and CEO of PAGCOR, will be delivering the keynote address on day 1. Mr. Nilo Rodriguez, the CEO of Newport Wood Resorts, on day 2. And we've got just a great lineup of sessions lined up for those 2 days. Are you back with us, Andrew?
Look, I think you better take over, Ben, because I can hear you, but I can't see what's going on.
Okay, well, I can hear you fine, Andrew, actually. So maybe it's something on your end, you can't see us. But yeah, I mean, Andrew, we can hear you. So maybe give us your thoughts on the summit.
Very, very excited about the summit. Great program. It's going to be really, really interesting. We've tried to do something different. You know, a lot of these shows are kind of, you know, a lot of these conferences, it's the same old people over and over again. And we've tried to get, you know, obviously some people you get regularly because they're very good speakers and they're very knowledgeable and people want to hear from them. But then again, you also get some people out of left field who you think maybe are not the sort of the people that would normally, actually the vision's just come back for me, which is great, which are not the people you would normally get, but have something really interesting to offer. And we run into those people all the time in our travels around the industry. And often, Ben, you and I say to each other, you know, this would be a great person to have as a speaker. They're not normally on the speaker circuit, but we get them in. So a good example of that is both Paul Heritakis and Joey Cruz doing the design. One, I think both of them are really smart guys with a lot to offer about design and how design influences the profitability of integrated resorts. So that's a great one. Of course, we've got Nilo Rodriguez as keynote speaker on day 2 and Chairman Tenko as keynote speaker on day 1. Kevin Tan, unfortunately, will be in the US during the conference. So Nilo stepped in as CEO, still very, very senior. I mean, as senior as you get after Kevin Tan. And be very interesting to hear Nilo's thoughts on the expansion of Newport World Resorts. And yeah, we've got a bunch of other panels, just really interesting, very nice, well-balanced summit. I think it's going to be a great 2 days. Is there any one or two that stick out for you, Ben?
Yeah, I mean, last year we had a panel on smart gaming tables, Andrew, which was really an introduction to the Philippines market at that time of, you know, what is a smart gaming table, what can it do? I think 12 months on, we're learning a lot now because these tables have been in place across a lot of the IRs around the region for a year now. So the data's coming through, people are changing their floors. We saw Marina Bay Sands change their theoretical based on the number of side bets they've got now, which has been enabled by smart tables. So we've got a panel now, which is 12 months on. Now we've got a really strong panel. Brian Jenkins from Angel, Graham Croft from Walker Digital, David Croft from Tangam, and Terry Cooper from Paltronics. So a very high level panel talking about what have we learned from smart gaming tables? What are we actually seeing now that we've had a year of these?
You know, it's really interesting. My prediction is that the concept of rolling will in 10 years' time, we won't have rolling because we'll have smart tables everywhere. We won't need it. And young kids will forget what rolling is, and old timers like us will have to explain to them what it was. That's going to be a great panel because, you know, it is a technology that's still in its infancy, let's be honest. I mean, it's actually been around 10, 15 years, but it took a while to sort of get going and for people to really adopt it. So we're starting to get, we've got huge data lakes at the moment that we don't know what to do with. And I think the analysis, when the analysts get in there and into those data lakes, it's going to be really, really interesting as well. We've got a great panel also. I should mention a couple of others. We've got a great panel with 3 very, very senior industry non-gaming leaders, hospitality leaders. Ivan Dici from MGM, who's head of hospitality there. Roger Lionheart, head of hospitality at Galaxy, with decades of industry experience, and actually David Baxley, who basically never speaks at these conferences. But David Baxley's a really, really engaging speaker, and really his knowledge of the entertainment industry. He's sort of in charge of all entertainment for Asia, for Sands, and has been forever, for decades, for Macau, for Singapore, and of course highly connected into Sands in the US as well. David's a super smart guy with a lot to, I've chatted with him a couple of times and thought, gee, you're the sort of guy that we really need on these kind of panels, and we've got him, which is really, really great. Corey as well. Corey, the COO and CTO of IAG and the publisher of CDC Gaming. Most people know that IAG and CDC Gaming merged in January 1 this year. So we're all one big company in some ways, although we still operate as two separate companies. We've got common ownership. Corey's going to be there at the event, and he's going to give an interesting little, the quick and dirty guide to using ChatGPT, because a lot of people are using ChatGPT now, but don't really know how to use it. And I'm getting a lot of emails and proposals and documents, and I go, oh, this was very clearly written on with AI, and he's going to talk about how to use AI in a good way, but still retain that human feel. So that's the sort of thing you don't get in other conferences. So it's going to be great. Anyway, let's move on. We've talked too much about that, but it's going to be. I'm really excited about the whole expo next week, but the summit in particular is going to be a great summit. What's the next one, Oscar? I'll let you do this one. This was just yesterday, wasn't it? Yeah, it was yesterday that SJM.
Yeah, so I mean, this is it's quite interesting. Obviously, SJM has 9 satellite casinos that will be closing their doors at the end of this year. They may be acquiring 2 of those to become wholly owned casinos, but certainly there'll be no casinos operating as satellites.
And which 2 of those?
Lark and Pont 16, Andrew, would be those 2.
Right.
Yep. Right. So the question has been, what will they do with all the tables and the machines that are currently in those satellite casinos, which must close by the end of the year? SJM answered a bit of that question yesterday. So they're purchasing some space in the good old Hotel Lisboa, one of the famous landmarks of Macau, Andrew. Purchasing some space there from their parent company, STDM, to relocate a lot of those gaming tables and machines. So the idea, from what they're saying, is to sort of Hotel Lisboa, Casino Lisboa, and next door Grand Lisboa, to sort of utilise it as one large sort of complex. They're doing renovations on both at the moment, and according to SJM, to sort of become this hub on the peninsula of gaming for SJM. That's the plan anyway.
Excuse my ignorance. I flicked this across to you yesterday, and I was busy all day and didn't have a chance to look at this in great detail. I just skimmed it. Are they taking some tables to Grand Lisboa Palace?
I would assume no. So I'm sure they would be, Andrew. I mean, you and I have walked the floor at Palace, and there's plenty of space there. I mean, they probably don't have enough tables to fill those gaps. So I'm quite sure they would. But I guess this is some of there's quite a few tables they would have at those satellites to bring across.
We should do an analysis of those tables, because I remember back in December, I could almost give you the day, I think it was December 15th, 2022, I did that, all that analysis of the tables and the slots as per the new concessions, and I believe that SJM had about 1,700 from memory of the 6,000 tables in Macau. It'd be interesting to analyse where they were before the satellite closures and where they end up after the satellite closures. You'd have to assume that those tables will be optimized and will generate more revenue in GLP and a bit of a peninsula hub that they're creating there than they would have in the satellite casino. So this may actually be a net positive for SJM, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think we both agree that Lisboa needs a bit of a refresh, more than overdue, though it is undergoing one. I haven't actually popped in for a few months, so I've got to pop in next month. So I'm in Macau again and take a bit of a look around. But good, perfect location there. So if they can sort of get that up and running and optimised, as you say, more tables, then hopefully it helps improve SJM's performance, because they did report yesterday as well some, again, just not. We're going to get to that now, right?
Yeah. Sadly, every time I walk into Lisboa, I look around and go, you know what? I'm older than this place. I'm 1 year older than Casino Lisboa. It opened when I was 1. So it's been there a long time. But you know, places can be renovated. It's got a fantastic name and history, a storied history. If they were to market it in a way that sort of took advantage of their storied history, they could do a really great job there. And with Grand Lisboa next to it, and you know, they've got awesome restaurants in there. They've got some of them, obviously Robuchon up in the dome at the top of Grand Lisboa, and I think the Eight was one of the first restaurants I ever ate in an early trip to Macau, and it didn't even have one Michelin star back then, and the food hasn't changed one bit, just that Michelin discovered them, and yeah, it's really, really nice. So there's a lot to like about that area, and if they become sort of the clear hub of the peninsula, they've got a real opportunity, business commercial opportunity there.
Yeah, I can't afford those restaurants on my wage, unfortunately, Andrew. So we'll have to discuss that.
What? Well, I think we might have gone there once, might we? Courtesy of IAG. No, we better not say that. I don't think. Yeah. Anyway, all right. Move on to the next one, Oscar. Let's change the subject quickly. Here's your very story, Ben. So this was last night. We never rest here at IAG. We work morning, noon, and night, and graveyard. Take us through these not so great numbers.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could say some good and some bad for SJM. Of course, we talk about their loss. I mean, they're still carrying a lot of costs around these satellites, and even some of the satellites that have closed with excess staff. So that's an ongoing challenge for SJM. On the positive note, revenue did go up. That's a good thing, and particularly at Grand Lisboa Palace, which is on a long and slow ramp, but it is gradually improving its market share, I think up to about 2.5% for GLP. And the company's market share, GGR market share, went up a little bit too, based on yesterday's report. So now again, good and bad, but I think the general consensus is that SGM really needs to consolidate, get its whatever you'd call that together, moving forward, optimise themselves and start to. Now it's going to be. I think it's going to be a long road for SJM, but once these satellites close and they don't have that burden, and they can relocate their staff, and that might take a couple of years, but perhaps then we might start to see some stronger results from SJM overall.
I think ACT was the word you were looking for there, Ben. Yes, you might have had another word that ends in T in mind, but probably best not to say. No, in all seriousness, SJM have. They get a bad rap down there at Grand Lisboa Palace because it is not such a great location. It did take a very long time to build, and it was very expensive. But God, it's beautiful. It's an absolutely beautiful property, and some of the hardware there is just sensational. Ben Toe took me around there a few times, and I had dinner with Ben and the Japanese. The name just escapes me right now, but there's a beautiful small Japanese restaurant there. If anybody wants to go to Grand Lisboa's website and go check out the Japanese, the food was exquisite. And there's that Gardeny restaurant they've got there. I think Garden's in the name of it. Geez, I should have researched this beforehand, but it's a really, really unusual and beautiful place to dine. So they've got some good stuff down there. Just getting the foot traffic to go there, and that's been improving. So that's good. So we wish SJM, all the best. They've got some managerial changes coming up, we understand. So let's see how that all plays out. All right, let's move on to the next one. Genting Malaysia, up there at Resorts World. Genting up on the mountain up there. Tell us all about this, Ben.
Yeah, again, similar, Andrew. Some positives and some negatives for Genting Malaysia, but generally some improved results in Q2. They reported some higher margins across their gaming floors. Some more higher volumes, so things are on the up. They had a little bit of a disappointing first quarter, much stronger second quarter. Actually, they improved their revenues improved across the board, so not just in Malaysia but also in the UK, in the US, of course, where they have Empire Resorts and Resorts World New York City. So pretty strong quarter for Genting Malaysia, and of course, they are, I think, I said, they're probably the most global gaming company in the world, aren't they, really? So, yeah.
They are, with that big glaring hole of no Macau. But apart from that, they're definitely the most global game company in the world. do we have the Resorts World Las Vegas numbers coming up? We did that this morning as well.
We did, yes. I'm not sure if we've got that coming up.
I think that might be next. Let's go on to the next one, Oscar, because I think that might be next. It is. There we go. Yeah, talk us through. I mean, you only just did this a few hours ago. Talk us through the numbers here a little bit better. They've been struggling, Resorts World in Las Vegas. They've been through quite a few management changes, but got new boss in there, and he's got experience from MGM and brought a great team over from MGM and continues to do so. And bit of a resurgence there for Resorts World.
Yeah,
Las
I mean, they've
Vegas.
had probably a challenging year for Resorts World in Las Vegas. First of all, when comparing this year's results at the moment to last year, it's a tough comparison because the Super Bowl was in Las Vegas early last year. So the record visitation to Vegas around that time. So comparing to a year ago, the results are down. Comparing to the first quarter, results are fairly strong. And Resorts World, Genting said in their results announcement that this is the start of the pickup. So they've recalibrated their VIP business, starting to see some recovery there on the gaming floor. As a result of that, they saw improved revenues, improved EBITDA in Q2 versus Q1. Of course, they've gone through their own regulatory challenges with the Nevada Gaming Control Board recently. That they're just putting that behind them now, paying off about a $10 million US fine. Again, analysts have commented that it's going to take some time for Resorts World under its fairly new management team to really get that momentum going forward. But a little bit of some positive signs in the second quarter, quite a big uptick versus the first quarter.
Yeah, I mean, it was great to meet with the new CEO there, Carlos Castro. I don't think he calls himself CEO actually, but he is the CEO effectively. Carlos Castro. I actually stayed there last time I was in Vegas, and they've got the Crockford's product they've got there is beautiful. Butler service, the whole 9 yards, very nice. So. And Carlos is a serious operator with lots of decades of industry experience. He's actually had 5 years off before this job as well. So as just about a break, which can refresh someone too, and can. So I think it's exciting what they're doing. Obviously, we've got some connection over here in Asia to them through Genting being a Malaysian company, and we cover Genting quite a lot. So let's see how Resorts World Las Vegas goes. If they could bring some energy to the north end of the strip there, because you've got that sort of triad, haven't you? You've got Resorts World Las Vegas, Fontainebleau, or whatever you pronounce it, and of course Wynn Las Vegas is the king of them all. We've got a very close relationship with Wynn as well. They're great, absolutely beautiful, magnificent property there as well. So between the three of them, you'd think that they could get some energy up towards that north end of the strip. It'd be interesting to see. And of course, we'll all be over there for G2E. I can't say next month, but on Monday I'll be able to say next month. In October, we'll all be over there. Yourself, Ben, me, Jades, and of course Corey and the CDC team will be there. So quite a contingent from Complete Media Group.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was just going to add, we were talking about that triumvirate of properties in that North Las Vegas strip. I think the benefit of those properties, is that they're quite new, quite modern. I mean, if you sort of head south down the strip, there's a couple of those properties that are probably showing their age a little bit. So, Resorts World is quite a nice property to walk through, really. It's a baby on the strip, but it's modern, and as you say, it's got some great amenities there. I remember you telling me about the spa being absolutely spectacular as well.
Oh, the spa is sensational. I just think it might be the best spa I've ever seen. In fact, Oscar, let's do it. Go to magazines again, because remember what we did it as the secondary feature on, was it maybe March this year or February?
Well, it wasn't on the cover, so I don't recall which issue it was.
Yeah, but it was almost like a cover story, wasn't it? I wonder, Oscar, if you could find it quickly. Maybe you could try and find it in the background while we continue, and if you find it, bring it up. The Resorts World story. It was the number 2 story in, I think it was it this year?
I think so. I think January, February,
I think it
April.
Was.
May.
Yeah,
something around there.
No, it wasn't that. We must find it. Anyway, Oscar, why don't you go back to the next story, and maybe in the background you can try and find it while we continue talking. Was that the last story? It looks like it was. Oh no, it's a Star story. Yeah. Oh, of course. This came out this morning. So this is only even newer. You just did this just in time for breakfast briefing. But you had a busy morning.
Yeah, plenty happened this morning, last night and this morning, Andrew. So, I mean, part of the Star Entertainment Group saga, really. Results coming out this morning, as you can see there on the screen, a $471 million statutory loss.
Half a billion Aussie.
Yeah,
Ooh,
around
ouch.
300 million, roughly US. Again, this is part of, I mean, as Star said, that loss is largely due to increased regulatory enforcement, mandatory carded play, time limits, a tough market anyway at the moment, some loss of market share.
A lot of it's not their fault. I mean, for all their wrongdoings and issues and dramas, a lot of it is not their fault.
Well, I mean,
I don't know. Well, you live in Sydney. What do you think, Ben? What's your take on all the whole Star thing?
Well, I mean, as a Sydney sider who has spent years going to Star in its prime, I mean, I remember going to Star when it was, facing the wrong way. One of the great stories about the Star Sydney is that it was basically built facing away from the harbour. Don't know why anybody would have ever done that. So Star spent $600 million a little over a decade ago to sort of flip it as best as they could. It's sort of got two entrances now. But it became quite a good property. It's sort of my hometown property. I have a lot of allegiance to it. But we've sort of seen what's happened recently, and with all this regulatory, we've had 2 inquiries in New South Wales into Star that have found various compliance issues. We've spoken about that at length before. But I think the 2 biggest problems for Star at the moment are a massive increase in costs around compliance, around AML, responsible gambling issues, but also the fact that bringing in mandatory carded play, time limits, loss limits, all these things, they apply to Star, but they do not apply to the many, many pubs and clubs that are within a 1 or 2 minute walk of Star or 10-minute walk of Star. And for people that aren't familiar with Australia's pubs and clubs scene, which I think there's 100,000 or maybe 90-something thousand poker machines, slot machines in New South Wales alone, that's massive. So people are basically saying, well, I could go to Star and play, but it's a bit of a pain in the ass, to be honest. Or I could just go around the corner. I don't face any of those restrictions at the pub or hotel around the corner.
Yeah, I mean, Crown's got the same issue, and it's really not fair. And then those pubs and clubs will say, "Well, you deserve it. You guys did all the bad stuff." But that's a long time. Come on, it's time to get over that and time to move forward. So, if Australia's regulatory framework, regulatory bodies, and politicians are serious about a healthy, sustainable gaming industry, which we certainly hope they are, because if you're not serious about it, we won't go into. We've talked about it at length, but you hand it to the criminals and send it underground, just as they have in many ways with the tobacco industry in Australia. But let's not go off on that tangent. If they're serious about it, they've got to have a level playing field. It just doesn't make sense. How can something be so important for the Star to do, but for a pub that you could literally get to in 60 seconds walk? I mean, there's 2 actually, isn't there? There's the one up on the corner there. Sorry, I don't know my Sydney geography so well. The one that's sort of near Darling Harbour. And then there's one more to the other side as well. They both got slot machines in them. And one's about a 1 minute walk from Star. I think one's about a 5 minute walk from Star. So it's pretty unfair, really, on Star.
Yeah, so that's what Star's facing. And of course, they're in the middle of, trying to save themselves anyway. They're trying to finalise the $300 million rescue package from Bally's. They're trying to finalise exiting the Destination Brisbane consortium. They're in discussions with their lenders. They've got a lot of stuff going on around the sides at the moment.
And poor old Sue Kim can't really. I mean, of course, I'm sure he's doing stuff behind the scenes as best as he can without breaking any laws, of course. But until Philip Crawford gives him the nod that he can go in, he can't really go in. I mean, the shareholders have approved the deal. Stars approved the deal. It's the only deal they had on the table. I'm sure he's keen as mustard to get in there and start making changes and improving the situation as best that he can. Do we have any timeline from Crawford? Do we have any comments? Are there any hints, or is there anything coming out of the NICC, the New South Wales Independent Casino Commission, on approval of this deal? And if not, maybe we better start contacting them and seeing if they'll at least give us a no comment.
Yeah, there's been no definitive dates. Star did say in this morning's release that they expect a decision about the AUSTRAC fine. Of course, there is a definite AUSTRAC fine coming up as well. We don't know how big it will be, but Star expects that could come as early as September, that fine. I mean, Crown was 450 million Australian. Star, it's hard to imagine they'd be much different from that, given...
Well, you don't know. I don't think you can definitely say that. I mean, I guess Crawford can say, I'm waiting to see what AUSTRAC does. You know, well, AUSTRAC might be saying, we're waiting to see what Crawford does. I mean, who knows? But look, the point is well made, and I've made the exact same point, that you wouldn't expect it to be much different because the behaviour was just as egregious, arguably maybe even a little more egregious. Then arguably not. I mean, Crown's behaviour was pretty egregious too. But the circumstances are a little different. So I think when you sentence someone as a judge, you kind of have to take into account the circumstances of the defendant standing before you. Now, I know they're not a judge, but using the same kind of logic, you probably got to look at the circumstances. Crown had been bought by Blackstone. Blackstone's got billions and billions of dollars. It was a $6 billion deal. Blackstone was very upbeat about it. You know, there was a new energy around Crown, and Crown was on the way. Well, at that time wasn't on the way back, but ultimately they did, you know, rehabilitate themselves quite well and have done a good job of that. Star, on the other hand, is on life support. So do you take that into account in making the decision? You know, maybe you do. I don't know. So let's see. But I'm sure Sue Kim is chafing at the bit, to use that expression correctly, to get a result from AUSTRAC, to get a result from the regulator, the NICC, just get his people in there and start fixing Star up, finding out, well, okay, let's look at a P&L. What are we spending money on here that we don't need to spend money on? Do some emergency cost cutting and look at revenue. How can we drive revenue and all of that? So it's very interesting. All right. Well, anything more from you on Star? I think we've done that to death.
Yeah, no, everything you said is accurate. It's a bit of a waiting game at the moment.
Yeah, it must be very frustrating because I think every day they're burning through cash. But anyway, it is what it is. That's the last one, is it, Oscar? I feel that must be the last one. Yes, that looks like it is. So a couple of things to cover. Excuse me. Digital edition coming out today. September issue, our biggest issue ever. Actually, it is our 20th anniversary issue, but we had no time to write 20th anniversary all on it. The first issue of IAG ever was September 2005. I guess so arguably you could say that the August issue was the 20th anniversary, just like 2000 wasn't. The zero number isn't the first year of the decade, it's the one, but let's not say that. September 2025 marks 20 years for IAG, but we didn't even make a song and dance about that because there was so much more in the issue. A great job by you, Ben, putting together that issue. I was looking through it today. We're going to release it today. Actually, it is live on the website now, but we're going to release the digital edition later today. Just talk us through the issue, what's in there, because it's just fantastic. What a great issue of IAG.
Well, I mean, given that we've got IAG EXPO this month, and we're bringing the Asian gaming world into Manila to join us in a couple of weeks' time, we thought that doing a bit of an Asian market roundup would make a lot of sense. So we've delved into 8 key markets across Asia, had a bit of a look at the state of play in each of them. If I roll them off now, I'll probably forget some of them, but certainly Macau, Philippines, Singapore, Australia, Malaysia, Thailand. I'm
Japan.
So.
Did we do Japan?
No,
look at Oscar.
Korea.
How good's Oscar? He's going to help
there we go.
He's helping you
Oscar's
out.
flicking through.
There we go.
So there we
go.
Great issue. Yeah. So definitely a bit of a mini deep dive into each jurisdiction, what's happening there at the moment. So yeah, that's quite.
How can you have a mini? What's a mini deep dive?
Well, if I was going to do a deep dive, I could probably write 2,000 words on each, Andrews.
Of course, we could write 5,000.
So I might have written about 500 words on each, roughly, or so.
Australia, Australia. Yes. There's Quran, sorry.
Later.
Yeah, what a great issue. So just keep flicking through it, Oscar. A few congratulations to us from some of the integrated resort. That's very nice of the next SJM. Vietnam, there you go. Another interesting one. There you go. Win. You better go all the way so we get everyone, Oscar. Yeah, and then there's Newport, and then here we go about the Expo.
Yeah, may as well just keep flicking through, Oscar, until while we go through.
Yeah, just go all the way.
Of course, a bit of a preview of the IAG Expo. Of course, a lovely story on GLI. There's Marina. Good to see you. Had a nice chat to Marina. Paolo from GLI.
There's the James Bond of Macau,
yes,
they call him.
Yes, absolutely. A really interesting column by Ryan Ho on Baccarat, looking at Baccarat side bets. They're great value, but can you go too far with them? Is his premise. Very interesting discussion about that, actually. Jumbo, our good friends at Jumbo, promoting their latest products. They've been very busy.
Well, what about the table layout we saw at Crown when Harold Marcus took us around? And it was table layout. I said it was so full of side bets. I said to him, "Where's banker on player?"
Yes, I think he had 6 or 7 side bets on that table. Maybe even 8 on one.
Keep going, Oscar. Here's a good win story.
Yeah. So Win doing lots of things in the non-gaming space, promoting culture and that sort of thing.
There you go. 10 years ago, the Power 50 from 2015.
Yeah, Mr. Albertson on top 10 years ago. Francis Boy, number 2.
Haven't things changed in 10 years?
And then, of course, our solution showcase. So a bit of a preview of some of the things you'll see at IAG Expo, at the IAG exhibition in Manila next month.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, story here on all the various exhibitors. There's a lot of A's, isn't there? ACP, Ace, Aristocrat, Aruze. There's IDX Games, 2 Peters. JCM, great issue. I mean, 216 pages. That is a lot of work, Ben. Well done to you and all the writers and the editors and the translators. Of course, it's in 2 languages. There's Olivia. It's in English and traditional Chinese, as every issue of IAG since May 2019 has been. So, really, just keep going, Oscar, all the way, right to the end. Really, really great issue of IAG, and I think we should all be very proud of it. And it's going to be available at the show, of course, and of course it'll go out where it normally goes out, and everybody will be getting the digital edition today. And then we talked a bit about the expos. Let's just wrap it up a little quickly with the events through to the end of the year. So, of course, the expo, Monday the 8th of September at 6:30, MAD. That's going to be huge. It's going to be one of our biggest ever MADs. Casa Buenas is going to be chock-a-block. Full of industry people. Don't miss that. If you need an invitation, get in touch with us. If you're a genuine industry person, we'll get you an invitation. Then, of course, the 2-day summit on the 9th and the 10th, the 2-day expo or exhibition on the 9th and the 10th. Expo being the term that we use for the whole event, and exhibition being for just specifically the exhibition. We're very excited about the exhibition. Director of Events Dorothy Loy has been working incredibly hard, and her team, Yolanda and Alex and Clarissa and all the various people have been working extremely. Oscar and has been doing a lot of stuff as well. Scott's been helping them all. It's been all hands on deck, and of course the big awards night on Tuesday night. Tuesday the 9th, we'll be having the awards now moved from the Hilton Ballroom to the Manila Ballroom, 50% larger ballroom. We needed it because we crammed out the Hilton Ballroom, which is literally just upstairs from where I am here. We crammed that out. That's going to be a fantastic event. Still a couple of tables available, not many, but still a couple of tables available. So if anybody watching wants to grab a table, 20,000 Hong Kong is, I can't remember what it is. But get in touch with Jadeson and grab a table, because we have got a couple left available, because the room's much larger. So we've got the ability to do more tables. It's going to be a great event. And then we even have a little special something happening on the Thursday that we're not really publicising. But so it's going to be a very busy time for us. When are you hopping on the plane to get over here to Manila?
I'll be there next Saturday, Andrew.
Right. Okay. Everybody's coming in. It feels like at the beginning of Ocean's 11 or something. Everybody's, I think, 17 people. I mean, it's just me here at the moment, nobody else. But I think they will start coming pretty early next week, and the 17 of us all arriving over the course of the next week. It's going to be a big event. So anyway, there you go. Quite a long live streaming today. Sorry about the technical difficulties here from Manila. It happens sometimes. Thanks for covering for me in that, Ben. Anything else we need to mention, Ben?
I think that's it, Andrew. And everybody should come along to IAG Expo. It's going to be a fun week and a busy week, but there'll be plenty to do, plenty to see. So don't miss out.
And a few as yet unannounced surprises as well. So if you're if you're an industry operator, particularly from somewhere outside of Manila, please do get in touch. We will take very good care of you. So, we'll help you with the journey from the airport to Newport World Resorts. Very short journey. We're right next to the door to the airport. And the hotels here, a big plethora of hotels. We've got 5 hotels here we can put you up in, and we just really will take care of everybody. We won't leave you in the lurch. So if anybody's thinking about coming but a little bit worried about, because sometimes people have this thing about, the Philippines, do I want to go to the Philippines? We'll take good care of you. We'll make sure everything goes smoothly. Get in touch. All right. Well, that's it for IAG Live Streaming Show this week. Have a great weekend, everybody. Thanks, Ben.
Thanks, Andrew.
Thank you to Oscar. I know you're there in the background. And have a safe weekend, everybody. And we will see you next week at IAG. Look for the digital edition of the September issue later today in your inbox. And, of course, breakfast briefing Monday morning at 8 a.m. Until then, bye for now. Have a great weekend. And we'll see you next week on the IAG Live Streaming Show. See ya.